Hi, L11 class. This is the second part of week 4's video lecture on goals and goal setting and goal achieving. So where I left you off in the last video, you had, let's put it up here, you had done a little writing activity for about 5 minutes where you went back to childhood and started dreaming and sense trenching who you wanted to become when you were older and what that life looked like for you. The purpose of that was, one, just to have a fun activity to get in touch with what dreaming feels like, and to have the spare time to dream a little bit and get in touch with the inspiration, the origins, your origin story, but also to move us into what to do with that energy now that we're a little inspired and maybe a little bit more relaxed and not having to plan and analyze and apply. And, we were using a different side of our brain. And now we're back. We're ready to start talking about the strategy of goal setting now that we've got the creative energy behind it. And I just wanted to start us off. I mentioned at the start of last video that I was going to talk about this podcast just a little bit about beginning with a wish and ending with a plan. But I actually like it in this video better. So here we are. We're going to start here. This is an aside. This is nothing to memorize, but it's just a little bit more detail about bridging visualization with strategic planning of goals. So Hidden Brain is a podcast on NPR, National Public Radio. Sorry, I'm moving this slide. There we go. And this particular episode is called Whoop, There It Is, 4 Steps to Achieve Your Goals. And in this episode, a doctor and author and researcher was interviewed about how people reach their goals and what's the most effective way to reach their goals in the age of positive thinking. And this researcher found that the data showed when people were using positive thinking and only positive thinking, meaning they were daydreaming and they were actively feeling as if they had already achieved their goals, that they were less likely to do the strategic part and the actual action towards achieving their goals because they already felt as if they had achieved their goals. So she came up with a 4-step plan. It's called WHOOP, or the acronym is called WHOOP. The first one is that we start with a personal wish, something that we really want to accomplish. And it's personal, something that means a lot to us. And then from there, we can start asking ourselves, well, why haven't I pursued this outcome? What has kept me from already achieving this goal? And hopefully that leads us to our obstacles, whether the obstacles are inside of us or the obstacles are outside of us, like money or time. If the obstacles are inside of us, then we can begin to make a plan for how to overcome that obstacle, even if the obstacles are outside of us and there's money and time. The planning phase, right before the action, but this planning, strategic planning, is really, really important, because this is where we get clear on our path to meeting our goals. We want to as direct of a plan as we possibly can. Now, in the last video, I did say that goal setting is a process, and we're always revising that process. So we're always revising the road or the pathway to getting to certain goals, or the goal itself. And yet we still want to have the clearest pathway there that we can whenever we can. So that means really getting clear and specific on our goals and what it is that we want so that we can start to plan for that. Okay, this slide is more of a fun one, but I love this quote. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? So this idea that there's this goal, there's this experience or, I don't know, growth that I want to experience. And if I don't do it now, then when will I do it? So now's a great time as any to begin that commitment. Now you'll need your activity sheet beside you because we're going to begin working on that activity sheet. And before we begin that, right before we begin that, I want to get clear on the definition for short-term goals and long-term goals so that we know what we're specifically talking about when we do the worksheet, okay? You'll need to know this as well. A short-term goal is anything that we can accomplish in 12 months or less. And some of those examples are like, I'm going to work on my resume this weekend. Or next semester, I'm going to take these specific classes. A long-term goal takes 12 months or more to achieve. And some examples of those are saving for retirement or having my own business, maybe even graduating or earning my certificate in college. And if we're strategic and careful and planning slowly versus just, running for it and not slowing down to look at what pathway we're building. For very, very expert goal setters, we will use our short-term goals as stepping stones to our long-term goals. Okay, like ladders on a rung. Rungs on a ladder. Boy, oh boy. It has been a long day. All right. Thanks for following along with me here. All right, on page 1 of your long-term goals, if you could begin to think about what goals, if you don't already know what they are, what goals would you like to accomplish in the long term? So first begin with, after graduation or completion of a program, what's your first step? In 5 years or 10 years, what would you like to have accomplished? You can pause the video now and work on that portion of your activity packet. Okay, welcome back. Now we are at the short-term goals in the activity packet. Begins on the bottom of page 1 into page 2. And you can write down a short-term goal. What short-term goal do you have for this school year or this semester, this week or today? You can pause the video now and write in your short-term goals. Now, please don't worry if you don't have a goal for all of these things. Write anything down for now. It's a good place to start just practicing. This is an exercise to look at how we can become more specific. So really anything will work. Okay, hopefully you paused the video. And you're back. So now, towards the middle of page 2, you'll see some empty lines and the acronym DAPPS. On those empty lines, go ahead and fill in. D is for dateable, meaning our goals should have a deadline or a date so that we're specific on when we want to accomplish something. Now that date can change over time as we become clearer and clearer on what our goal is, but we want to have something to start with. On the line next to the A, you should write achievable. And that means that this goal is achievable in the amount of time that we would like to accomplish it. Also, this goal can be challenging, but something that is realistic in my world to do within this amount of given time. P is for personal. It should be our goal, not our parents' goals or our partner's goals or our friends' goals. We need to have a goal that we can strive for. that inspires us individually. Positive, this means that our goal is we focus on what we will do and not on what we don't want to do. And then specific. We want to get really, really, really specific as much as we can about this goal. And one way to do that is by using a technique called the 5 W's, 1 H. So this is going down and using the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay. So what that will look like is, if we take a look at this pretty normal goal, I mean, normal, average, many students want to transfer. I know not all of them do, but many students do. So I've heard this before, this goal. Within 4 years, I will graduate and have a successful career. So we go down the line. Is this goal dateable? Yes, the goal is dateable. It has 4 years in there. Is the goal achievable? Is it achievable within 4 years? Well, yeah, as far as we're concerned, the student will graduate in 4 years and hopefully have a successful career. Is it personal? Yes, this goal is personal. I will graduate and have a successful career, not my mom wants me to graduate and have a successful career. Is it positive? Yes, it's positive. I will graduate and have a successful career, not I will not fill in the blank. Now, is it specific? Well, we might think it's specific or specific enough. But if we dig it a little bit deeper and we look at the who, what, where, when, why, and how, we may see that we can add to this. So I might say, who will I work for? Where is that successful career? Maybe what city is that successful career in? What college will I transfer to or university? How will I afford it? Who will be at my graduation? Okay, so we can start to, although that last one isn't part of the goal, we can start to get really, really specific. We might even ask, who's going to be my mentor? Who can I ask for help when I'm looking for careers? This is just a way to take a goal out of the realm of sort of hoping and dreaming and creating things in our minds, and really start looking at how we can make this goal part of our everyday life. Because I've had students say, I want to go to USC. That's a wonderful goal. Perfect. And then when I ask them, what instructors at USC are you interested in learning from? Students might not know that. Okay. What is that school known for? And by that, it doesn't mean that we can't transfer to that university, but let's say I really want to work in journalism, and I'm only transferring to USC because it's called USC. But I'm not thinking about the schools that may have the resources that I need as a student. Maybe I'm a DSPS student and I need certain resources, and I can look into that. Maybe there's a writer, a specific journalist who also teaches at a university that I would be really interested in going to and attending. So we want to ask, maybe, looking at the prices of schools, maybe that could factor that in. So there's a little bit more to this goal setting. Research. A lot of that information can be found on the university's website that we're interested in transferring to, or doing some research on careers and looking at different companies that we might want to work for and learning more about the career path, the job titles within the career path. This will give us a better sense of where we're going, and our goal will become more clear as we become more clear. One of the sure ways to keep ourselves from attaining a goal or experiencing the end result is to stay vague and unclear about what it is that we want to achieve. I have this example to use to show you just a little exercise that I do with my students. I'm going to share this Word document with you to show you, okay? Let's say we have a sentence like, they like to eat ice cream. And I'm going to make this really big so we can all see it. Maybe even a little bit bigger, okay? Make it bold, okay? They like to eat ice cream. Now, if we take our who, what, where, when, why, who, what, where, when, why, and how. If we take these questions and we apply them to the sentence, we may have a very different sentence by the end. I'm going to turn this landscape. Let's see here. Okay. So when we ask ourselves who, we're going to cross this out. Okay, and in place of who, or in place of they, we're going to write an alternative sentence down here and say, the kids in my neighborhood. That's who they are, okay? Now, we can ask, what kind of ice cream do these kids like? And let's just say they like strawberry. So the kids in my neighborhood like to eat strawberry ice cream. Okay, that's their favorite. And where do they like to eat strawberry ice cream? Oops, let's say they like to eat strawberry ice cream on their front porches. Okay, and then we'll say when. When do they like to eat their ice cream? In the summertime. Okay, and then if I say why, I'm going to say because it's very hot. I'll add an outside so it doesn't sound like the ice cream's hot, right? And how do they eat their ice cream? Well, maybe I'll say the kids in my neighborhood like to eat strawberry ice cream quickly. And maybe they like to eat ice cream quickly because it's melting. I don't know. But you can see how we started out with this sentence, they like to eat ice cream, and now we can actually see it and visualize it. The kids in my neighborhood like to eat strawberry ice cream quickly on their front porches in the summertime because it's very hot outside. Okay, so now it's become a scene. So when we take any kind of goal and we apply those questions to it, we're going to come up with, more specifics. I've asked students, where is your career? Like, have you looked at, you want to be a veterinarian? What are a couple names of animal hospitals you're interested in interning at or working at? Just to help them, just to help them get started somewhere. And these gaps or these holes where we can't answer the questions, if we want to go to a university that we've never visited, this is a great place to start. So first things first, maybe I go to the campus and I walk around, see how I feel, okay? Just so this goal becomes more realistic. Okay, now there is a little activity here at the end, and I'm going to allow you to do this on your own. This is just practice in case, I put an exercise like this on the test. You have 6 chances. These are all goals that students have said to me in class before. And see if you can't apply the DAPPS method: dateable, achievable, personal, oh goodness, I'm already forgetting, positive, and specific. And by specific, we mean including the 5 W's, 1 H. See if you can go through a couple of these goals and make them more specific. And although they are not your specific goals, you can pretend as if they are to make them more specific. Or maybe they're your friends' goals and you're teaching them how to use the DAPPS method and the 5 W's, 1 H method to make their goal more specific. I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope that it was fun. I had a great time talking to you today, although I am very tired. I'm sure that you're all feeling pretty tired too. And so now I'm going to rest before work tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day, if it's daytime, the rest of your night, but certainly the rest of your week. And email me with any questions or suggestions or comments. All right, guys. Thanks so much. See you later. Bye-bye.